If you're taking supplements to get healthier, this might be the most important video you hear all year, because some of the most popular vitamins on the market aren't just useless, they can actually push your body closer to serious damage. I've seen people wreck their livers, destroy their gut function, and completely throw off their hormones thinking they were doing the right thing. And the scariest part is most of these supplements are marketed as essential. So let's start with glutathione. This gets crowned the master antioxidant in almost every detox conversation. People take glutathione because they're told detox can't happen without it. They hear how low glutathione equals toxic overload. So glutathione does play a huge role in detox. It's involved in phase 2 liver detoxification, helping escort toxins out of the body. But the part that gets skipped is supplementing with glutathione doesn't gently clean house. It causes a storm and pulls toxins out of storage very, very quickly. So I'm talking heavy metals, I'm talking man-made chemicals, and any waste that the body couldn't deal with at that particular moment, so it stored it. And this is where people get caught out. The challenge is this: glutathione can trigger insane Herxheimer reactions if the body isn't ready to eliminate those toxins that have been mobilized. So that looks like skin flare-ups, it looks like fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, and even histamine reactions. Listen, I learned this the hard way when I was getting into detox many, many years ago. I heard about the benefits of glutathione, took 2 pills, and it sent me in a tailspin. I was sick for about 2 or 3 days, digestive issues, headaches, flu-like symptoms. It wasn't a good deal. And the reason is because I didn't know what I was doing, first and foremost, and I didn't have my body prepared for such a big dump of toxins into my system. So it's not that glutathione is bad, it's not. But it's because if the body isn't ready to handle it, it's not a good thing to take. The thing is, if you want naturally higher glutathione in your body, you can get your body to produce more of it. So certain foods work wonders, like sulfur-rich vegetables, bitter greens, and quality protein that is full of minerals. But the most powerful way to increase your glutathione is coffee enemas. You know I'm a fan of the coffee enema. So coffee enemas are great for naturally increasing glutathione, and you'll feel amazing after doing a coffee enema. Trust me, I do one once a week. I've been doing it for about 10 years. Wouldn't miss my weekly session of coffee enemas. Before we keep going, if you want a checklist to help detoxify your body properly without the guesswork, without figuring out what works, what doesn't work, then grab my 10 detox starter tips. It's the exact starting point that I give my clients before they change anything else, and it's helped hundreds of lives. So if you want to grab your copy, link in the description. Next up, we have vitamin D. This is probably the most aggressively defended supplement in the health space. You hear that low vitamin D means poor immunity, higher disease risk, weaker bones, lower moods, a whole host of things associated with low vitamin D. So people get it tested. They see a low number and they start supplementing, often 5,000 up to 10,000 IUs per day. Now, here's the thing that gets misunderstood. Vitamin D is not a vitamin. It is a hormone. And there isn't just one form of this hormone in your body. There's storage vitamin D, which is called 25-hydroxy vitamin D. And there's active vitamin D called 1,2,5-dihydroxy vitamin D. They're meant to exist in a relationship, not in isolation. And according to endocrinology research, active vitamin D should be roughly twice the level of storage vitamin D. But most practitioners only measure storage vitamin D, which means that people are supplementing a hormone without knowing how much active hormone is already circulating within their bodies. And this is where the problem starts, because most untouchable vitamin D studies are correlational, not causal. Also, vitamin D is magnesium dependent. So if you push it without magnesium, you create imbalances within the body. And chronically elevated vitamin D has been shown to lower cellular ATP production. So ATP is produced by our mitochondria, the powerhouse of our cell, which basically means low ATP is low energy. Also, there are large all-cause mortality studies showing no added benefit once storage vitamin D rises beyond a healthy baseline. Yet people are being told to push their levels beyond that point. For me, a grounded approach is simple: getting more sunlight and more whole food sources of vitamin D. Remember, the body is designed to make vitamin D in the summer and store it for the winter months. Also, consuming cod liver oil and fermented cod liver oil is amazing for getting vitamin D from your food. And personally, I don't see any issues having sunbeds in the winter months. I don't do it now because I live in Portugal, but when I was living in London, once a week I would go get sunbeds to keep my vitamin D levels topped up. There have also been studies by a company called Zeolite Labs, which is owned by my good friend Jeff Hoyt, and they show that using high dose binders like zeolite can actually improve vitamin status across the board. So basically taking binders reduce the body's need to divert certain vitamins to help remove toxins out of the body. And these studies show that using high dose binders like zeolite can actually improve your vitamin status, including vitamin D, because those nutrients are no longer being diverted to deal with the toxic load within your body. The next supplement I want to talk about is sold as a stress reducer and a hormone balancer all in one. And for a lot of people, it makes things a whole lot worse. So ashwagandha is next on our list. It's usually sold under the KSM 66 extract. It's the most popular one. It's had the most research done on it. It's marketed as a stress support. It also promotes lower cortisol, it boosts testosterone, and can improve overall resilience. So ashwagandha is an adaptogen, and it does have real effects. There are studies showing improvements in sleep quality, anxiety, perceived stress, especially over short-term timeframes. But the point that I want to get across is ashwagandha isn't passive. It actively influences your nervous system, your thyroid signaling, and also your stress hormones. That means it can help or it can push the system too far. In a small but growing number of documented cases, ashwagandha has been linked to liver stress and also bile flow disruption. In these cases, people develop signs of cholestasis. This is basically where the bile can't flow properly out of your liver. So what's really important is the amount of time you're taking it. So symptoms show up anywhere between weeks to a few months of taking ashwagandha consistently. There's also evidence that certain metabolites in ashwagandha can overwhelm your detox capacity. And on top of that, ashwagandha can push thyroid hormones higher, and you think that's a good thing, but it can lead to anxiety, palpitations, insomnia, and just generally an overstimulated nervous system. This is why some people feel a bit weird, a bit jittery, or emotionally flat instead of calm when they're taking ashwagandha. And I get it, they've done all the research and there's so many good things about it, but not everyone adjusts to it. And I've had many clients that have come to me saying, I took ashwagandha and it just made me feel awful for a couple of days. So if your liver is already under strain and if your thyroid's out of whack and your nervous system's fried, forcing an adaptogen like ashwagandha probably isn't the best thing to do. Now, if you're looking for something that has a similar effect, I would say mushrooms are a far better option to start with. You've got mushrooms like reishi for calming the nervous system. You've got cordyceps, which acts like a energy, kind of a coffee vibe to it. You've got lion's mane, which is really good for brain support. And also, I randomly discovered this years ago, if you take lion's mane and then sit in a sauna, you can go twice as long. I don't know why. It just works. So essentially, mushrooms are also adaptogens, but they're more gentle on your system. So let's talk about another category of supplements that people just blankly assume are safe and even necessary. Let's talk about probiotics. This is one of the most misunderstood supplements in health. People take probiotics to fix their gut, for better digestion, for better immunity, for less bloating, less inflammation within the body. And listen, on paper, that makes sense. Most of the immune system lives in the gut, so logically, taking probiotics will help that. You add in good bacteria, and then logically, things improve. It's important to note that historically, probiotics didn't come in capsules. They came from fermented foods. I'm talking sauerkraut, lacto-fermented vegetables, kefir, and foods that naturally developed beneficial bacteria over time. Those bacteria supported digestion and immune function because the terrain within our bodies allowed it. Now, capsule probiotics are a different game. They introduce concentrated strains into an environment that might already be overflamed, overgrown, and unstable. And when that happens, instead of helping, it can actually aggravate symptoms. And this is why people can feel worse when they take probiotics and then just assume, oh, probiotics aren't for me, which is completely the wrong way to look at it. They get headaches, they get brain fog, bloating, skin issues, even increased anxiety. And one major reason for this is histamine. So many probiotic strains out in the market are histamine producing. Now, if your histamine bucket is already full, probiotics can push you over the edge. And most likely when someone's dealing with gut issues, they have histamine issues already. Another thing that isn't talked about is certain probiotic strains can increase fermentation within the gut, which means more gas, more pressure, more bloating, especially if there's an underlying dysbiosis like a SIBO type overgrowth within your gut. So here's the thing that most people miss. When you take probiotics and it basically crowds out all the bad bacteria, that bad bacteria dies off and that causes a whole host of detox symptoms also. The fix is really simple. If you want probiotics, which you should, get them the way humans have always got them, from fermented foods, not capsules. Fermented foods adapt to you and also the environment that you're in. So kefir is a perfect example of this. Kefir fermented in one location develops a completely different microbiome profile to kefir developed somewhere else. So if I get some kefir grains and I separate them out, put one in Portugal, where I am, one in Japan, and they ferment, it will create a completely different profile based on the environment that the kefir was made in. And that adaptability is the point. Your microbiome is dynamic, and hand-selected strains in a capsule are not. So if you want probiotics that actually make sense for your body, then use foods that have evolved with our biology, not supplements that try to override it. So the key takeaway from this video is this: supplements fail when they're treated as shortcuts. Just because supplements come in a capsule, it doesn't mean that they're safe. When you take the wrong ones in the wrong form at the wrong time, they can do real damage within your body. So if you want to understand how your body actually detoxes and what supports that process, watch the video on screen where I break it down in detail.